Hey there, Band-Maid fans! Hope you're doing well. Hope this video finds you safe, happy, and healthy. My name is Albinian. As you figured out from the title, I decided to go and do a very ambitious project at the beginning of this year. So, if you're a Band-Maid fan and you talk to other Band-Maid fans, you're going to hear that joke over and over again that your favorite Band-Maid song is the one you just listened to. And there's a lot of truth to that, but we also don't really have a consensus on what our favorites are. And I know that I had a very hard time figuring out what my favorite one was. So I decided to just sit down and figure it out. I found all of the recorded tracks that I could. There were 107 in total. I have no idea if that's an official number or not. That's just what I had. And I listened to them all and tried to figure out which one I liked the best, which one I liked the least. Because there's none that I hate. I like them all. And I intended to get this done in January, given that it's end of April, early May when I'm posting this. We can see how well that worked out. But let me go through my process and try to explain why it took so long. So I started out by doing the pairwise comparison method. I got on stream, several 10 to 12 hour long streams where I would randomly pick two songs, listen to them back to back, and decide which one I would prefer. And I made the decision by figuring out if I could only listen to one of these songs over the course of the next year, which one would I choose? That's how I decided which one would win. And, even after several 10 to 12 hour long streams, there was still a lot of empty space in my spreadsheet. So I did a little math. I looked up how to figure out how many combinations of things there are. And it's 107 choose twos is how they say it. So you punch in the numbers, and that's almost 5,700 different matchups. Yeah, that's a lot. And if we guesstimate that it takes me a minute to make each comparison, that's almost 95 hours straight. So, sleep, eat, listen to Band-Maid, that would still take me almost 3 weeks to do. And honestly, because I was listening to the tracks, each comparison took me, 5 to 10 minutes. So that's part of why it took me so long. Eventually, I did switch from doing this pairwise comparison nonsense to just doing a straight logical deduction. So, if I like song B better than song C, and I like song A better than song B, then, A is over C. Makes sense, right? But if I had this to do all over again, I think that I would actually choose to do it the way that it accidentally worked out, where I would start with this pairwise comparison method and continue with it until I had listened to everything with this ranking concept in mind, and then move on to doing the deductive ranking like I did. I would just be a little bit more prescriptive about it instead of, eventually giving up on the spreadsheet and moving on. Anyway, let me talk about the results. And this is going to be pretty stream of consciousness. I'm not going to edit anything. I might say some stupid stuff. But let me try to say something smart up front. This is my list. It's not the list. It's definitely not your list, right? Like, I expect that any given fan is going to look at these results. They're going to see something that I've ranked low, that they would have ranked high, vice versa. And that's okay, right? I promise I like literally all of these songs, right? I don't think they've ever released a bad song. So with that in mind, let's keep going. Before I get to the straight list that shows you top to bottom how I'm feeling about the songs, I kind of want to do some fun charts and graphs looking at how things shaped up year by year, because after I was done, I was thinking about which albums did I end up liking more just based off the strength of the ranking. How has their music matured over time? Has it matured over time? So I kind of want to go through that a little bit. If you don't care if you just want to, go see the results. It's a YouTube video. You can just scrub forward if you want to. But let's just quickly look. And like I said, I don't have any notes. I'm just going to kind of stream of consciousness this stuff. But starting with Made in Japan in 2014, we can see that my favorite from that album is Before Dawn. And then Evergreen falls to the bottom. Somebody on my stream said that the main riff of Evergreen sounded like a Christmas song, and can't unhear. So that's just how that goes. Then 2015, New Beginning comes out, and things get much more interesting. Like, one thing that is interesting is that I don't know why I expected this. It was kind of dumb, but I expected that I would like New Beginning strictly more than I liked Made in Japan, but Made in Japan actually has some fairly strong songs, like Before Dawn in particular is pretty strong. And going into this, I don't know if I could have predicted which one of the New Beginning songs would come out on top. Like, I know that there's several that I really, really enjoy, but Shake That turned out to take the crown for New Beginning. And I know that some of you are going to have to pour one out for Arcadia Girl. I know that there's quite a bit of love for Arcadia Girl in certain circles of the fandom. I'm just not as big a fan of that song, but, at least it's not bringing up the rear with Evergreen. Moving forward in time to 2016, when Band-Maid came out, and they just started releasing some of their own music. What I like to see here is there's just, with every release, with every year that goes by, my favorite track keeps getting better and better, right? I didn't say that very well. Let me say that again. With every year that goes by, they release my new favorite track. That's what I meant to say. Which is cool, because like I would have felt before I started this that Band-Maid for me is a weaker album than New Beginning. And if you look at the ranking, you can see that on average, that's still true. I think, there's kind of a tighter grouping for New Beginning up here than there is for Band-Maid. But Band-Maid has my favorite song out of these three early albums, these three early mini albums. And hey, Arcadia Girl actually moved up a little bit, because Yurgu is just not my favorite. I've seen people, being like, oh man, that riff is awesome, and there's part of that song that's awesome, but it's not my favorite. I don't know where Alone is on the top of my head. I think it's definitely in the top 3 or 4 here. But I just love seeing that, the first release of any kind that had their own music on it. And I didn't include YOLO here. That's going to be on the next slide with Just Bring It. But that's both of those songs ended up in the top 10. That's really cool. Speaking of Just Bring It, we come to 2017. We don't get Just Bring It. We also get the Choose Me single. And whew, they just killed it, as far as I'm concerned. Like, look at how many songs. Like, they didn't just release one song that was my new favorite song compared to everything else. They released a bunch. Secret My Lips, as far as I'm concerned, is the best of a group of really, really amazing songs. Except for So What. And I know that there are a lot of fans of So What, so let me just simply say the thing that holds this song back for me is the style, right? It's just not a style of hard rock that I enjoy. Band-Maid executes it very, very well, but it's just not my favorite to listen to. If it comes on, I'm going to listen to it, right? But I'm not really going to reach for it. But they didn't write it, and actually, if I look at my notes here, most of the songs in this album that are in the bottom half for me are the ones that they didn't write, and the ones that they did ended up here. But just look at the difference. Like, there was so much spread for Brand New Made, and then the very next release, the first one that was majorly written and arranged by them, look at how many are just right over the top. That's so cool. Moving on to when World Domination came out, as well as the Start Over single, and they did it again. Actually, twice that year, they released my new favorite song. And of course, I should say that I only discovered Band-Maid during the pandemic, so I wasn't actually here to have them keep blowing my mind like this, but it's kind of fun to pretend and to see what would have happened if I had been listening all along. But this, for the first time with this release, they have released an album that, again, in my opinion, is strictly better than anything that came on Made in Japan. Moving on. Now we're into 2019. We've got a lot of releases. Only one album. I say only one album. But we've got 2 singles that had some B-sides, and then Maiko. And again, they released my favorite song on that new album of that year. At least my favorite song so far. I know a lot of people are going to look at Paige down here and kind of furrow their brows, but don't worry. I still really like Paige. In fact, look, it's beating out everything that's on Made in Japan, and I really like Before Dawn. This is a good song. Okay, and one other thing I just want to mention is you're going to look at Anemone Acoustic down here, and you're going to scratch your head. I was ranking this based on the recorded versions of these tracks. So we all, well, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us know and love the performance version of Anemone Acoustic with Saiki and Konami, when Konami is singing backup vocals, and that's just so beautiful. But the recorded version doesn't have Konami on backup, and it just leaves something to be desired, and every time I listen to it, I just couldn't help but miss the things that were included in either the official studio recording or that were included in the live performance. So that's why it kept falling that far below. I promise you, the actual studio version of Anemone is nowhere near the bottom. We only got a couple more slides here, and then we can get to the complete list. So then we move into 2020, first year so far in which they didn't release an album, but they did release the different single, which included 2 more tracks. And I guess this would be the first year that they didn't release my favorite song so far with difference. Screaming is still my favorite of the non-album cuts so far. But then we come to 2021, where they did so many good things. Again, last year they released a lot of good stuff. You can see HDK up here. That is my favorite Band-Maid song, and I make no apologies for that. And a lot of people really love Unseen World. I know that there are some people who are much more comfortable with, World Domination, Just Bring It, Conqueror era, and that's fine. I respect that opinion 100%. But, for me, Unseen World is Band-Maid taking hard rock, and instead of just doing an excellent job of taking familiar sounding riffs from the rock of yesteryear and making it their own. This was truly their own stuff. And not only did I, in retrospect, after all of this ranking, decided it was better than Made in Japan, it's strictly better than everything they did before they started releasing their own stuff. It's just such a masterful work, and you can see Corallium here gets high praises for me too. And I'm sure that some of you are looking at this, and despite me saying that I like all these songs, despite trying to mollify you, you're still grumbling about how low some songs are. So let me just overlay a tier list on top so that you can see that I love so much of this music. You know, this group down here, this is, like, I would consider, you know, a C tier. Might skip. You know, every once in a while I might be like, oh, I want to listen to a different Band-Maid song. But generally speaking, if it came on in my random playlist, I would just let it play. B is good, A is great, and S, as I predicted before I started this, S is the largest category of just stellar songs. Just almost perfect music. And I just love their entire catalog so much. This is truly a special band, in my opinion. All right, I'm going to shut up for a little bit and just let you peruse the list. And here it is, the moment that you've been waiting for, my top 10 plus Band-Maid songs. HGK, No God, Corallium, Reincarnation, the two versions of Screaming, if you want to discount the Band-Maid version to make a proper top 10, then, you know, 6 would be Spirit, then Yon Show, which is so underrated. That video gets almost no views, and it's so good. Same with Reincarnation. That gets like maybe 500 or 600 views a day, and that deserves a lot more. And then Youth, oh my god, that song is so good. Honkai and Habana. Their best stuff for me, a lot of their best stuff for me is the stuff they've released recently. And, you know, just looking at the shape of those graphs and the way that things have been going, I have no problem believing that their best stuff, at least from my perspective, is still to come. Thanks for listening to me yammer on. Hopefully you enjoyed this list, the fruits of my labor. If you ever want to chat about this or just hang out, you can always find me at twitch.com/Zelbinian. I stream pretty much every day, starting at noon Pacific time, and on Sundays, I usually have some Band-Maid playlists going as well. So, hope to see you there, or otherwise, chat with you in the comments.